Updated on December 4. That a Republican candidate for Senate in Alabama would cruise to victory seemed almost a foregone conclusion. But after a series of women came forward to accuse that candidate, Roy S. Moore, of sexual misconduct, less is certain in a race that could have major implications for the party's ability to govern in Washington. President Trump has gone from largely avoiding mention of Mr. Moore, a former Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, to endorsing him, which prompted the Republican National Committee to restore its financial support. Senate Republicans have distanced themselves from the candidate, and some called on him to withdraw from the race, but the intensity of those demands has faded as the election has neared. Democrats, for their part, are contemplating the near impossible, flipping a seat in a deeply red state that last elected a Democratic senator in 1990. As voters prepare for the December 12 special election, here is a breakdown of the New York Times's coverage on the race since the accusations emerged. On November 9, The Washington Post reported that 4 women said Mr. Moore had pursued them sexually or romantically when they were 18 or younger and he was in his 30s. One of them said that he touched her sexually when she was 14, below the state's age of consent. Over the next several days, a woman accused Mr. Moore of sexually assaulting her when she was 16, read her statement here, and 4 more women accused him of sexual misconduct or unwanted overtures. Mr. Moore, 70, remains defiant, trying to discredit the accusers while denying the most serious charges against him, though he has not denied that when he was in his 30s, he dated women in their teens. He has claimed that his accusers are part of a conspiracy against him, and that he is opposed by the forces of evil who are attempting to relegate our conservative Christian values to the dustbin of history. On November 27, the Post reported that a woman working for a conservative group had attempted to trick the newspaper into publishing false allegations against Mr. Moore, apparently in hopes of damaging the Post's credibility. At first, President Trump remained largely silent, but he then began defending Mr. Moore and saying that voters should reject Doug Jones, the Democrat in the race. Finally, on Monday, he formally endorsed Mr. Moore. Mr. Trump's position has put him sharply at odds with many of his party's national leaders, who have said that Mr. Moore should drop out of the race. Our reporters examined why Mr. Trump, who has also faced sexual harassment and assault allegations, has stood by Mr. Moore while the Alabama race split national Republicans. Several weeks after the Republican National Committee severed its ties with Mr. Moore, it decided to again offer its fundraising power to the campaign. Members of his administration have argued that holding onto a Republican seat in the Senate, where the party has only a narrow majority, was important for advancing the president's agenda. The allegations against Mr. Moore have aggravated the hostility between the populist and establishment factions of the party.